Hello, everyone. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment saying where you're from and when you watched. That way, YouTube will continue to show you stories like this. Now, let's get started. Asterisk since the night. I discovered the words written in blood on the mattress. I have not been myself. Every time I walk through the hallway, I feel a cold wind blowing across my neck. It is not the wind from the window or the air conditioner, but an invisible breath, cold and short, like the breath behind my neck. I removed all the mirrors in the house, covering them with black cloth. I no longer dare to look at my reflection, because sometimes I feel that it does not reflect what I am doing. One rainy night, when the wind whistled through the cracks of the window, I began to hear small sounds in the air. It was not the sound of rain or the sound of branches hitting the wall. It was a whisper. At first, it was just the sound of the wind swirling around like a soft lullaby. But as the night went on, I heard it more clearly. A young voice, endless, echoing regularly. "Daniel, don't leave me." I thought I was being paranoid. I turned on the recording on my phone, left it by my bed all night. The next morning, I played the recording. In the faint sound of the wind, I could clearly hear the giggles of children and a phrase repeated in English. "Stay here, play with me, stay here." I brought the recording to Thomas. After listening to it, he was silent for a long time. Then he suggested that I should look into Emily's family more closely. He helped me look up old records through an acquaintance who worked at the city archives. 3 days later, we received a copy of Emily's psychological report from the last years before she disappeared. What made me shiver was that the report stated that Emily often talked to an imaginary friend. She called it the other girl. She said that her friend lived in the wind, in the walls, and could hide in dolls whenever adults appeared. The story began to go beyond the initial speculation. It was not just Emily's spirit that haunted the house. There was another entity that existed in parallel. Something that had no human form, but knew how to manipulate dreams, emotions, and even memories. I decided to try something else. I placed the tape recorder in the rooms, especially in the hallways where I often felt the strange wind. I left it there for 3 nights. On the 3rd night, when I played the recording back, I heard what sounded like someone singing a lullaby. The voice was thin, like the wind blowing through the fields. But when I turned up the volume, I realized the lyrics were a prayer in an ancient language. And then a laugh rang out that made me shiver. Not a child's, but to children's laughter, overlapping, chaotic, crazy. That night, I dreamed. I found myself trapped in a closed room with no windows. In the corner of the room was the doll, Emily, sitting across from me. But next to her was a shadow twice her height, shapeless. When I walked towards her, she raised her hand and pointed at me. A voice echoed in my head. The one who opened the door. The one who had to stay. I woke up with a dry mouth and a pounding heart. I couldn't tell what was real and what was a dream. The whispers in the wind still echoed like echoes from another dimension. I called Agnes, my old neighbor, to ask her if she had heard anything strange. After a moment of silence, she said yes. She had heard her name being called from behind the wall, but she didn't answer, because she knew that if she did, they would step out of the wind. Her words haunted me all day. I started wearing headphones when I slept, turning on white noise to drown out the wind. But I knew I couldn't hide forever. Emily and the other girl knew I could hear them, and now they wanted me to answer. I decided to try something crazy. I took the doll out of the box, placed it in the middle of the living room and turned on the recorder, letting the phone record every sound for 8 hours. I locked all the doors, left the house, and stayed at Thomas's. The next morning, I returned and played the recording. For the first 3 hours, there was only silence. But on the 4th hour, a voice spoke. Daniel, Daniel, Daniel. Over and over for 3 minutes. Then laughter, and finally, a deeper, more intense voice. Daniel opened the door. Let us in. I had never cried like that in my life. I felt helpless, scared, and hopeless all at once. I knew they were getting closer, very close, and they didn't just want to play anymore. They wanted to stay. Watch episode 7, The Ritual of Betrayal.